in Africa is not lack of money. Problem in Africa is lack of leaders, and leaders who can provide leadership. When we look at our nation, we find the three sectors to an economy that enables an economy. The first sector is the service industry, which contributes approximately 65% to our Kenyan economy. And there we have insurance, we have banking, we have education, we have health, among others. Tourism also is there. Then we have agriculture. Agriculture contributes approximately 19% to our economy. But again, as agriculture is contributing 19% to our economy, we really are doing so poor in agriculture. We have the land mass, we have the capacity, but in terms of production, we are still very, very low, and hence as a nation, we cannot compete. I hear leaders talking about Singapore, but how can we be close to Singapore and other nations if we cannot and we are not willing to grow our agricultural sector? Then lastly, we have construction and manufacturing, which contributes approximately 16% to our economy. If you ask me about the issue of constructing houses, I'm sorry, I've never supported the idea of the affordable houses. Why am I saying so? And supporting it with facts, not factoids, facts. That number one, houses are not issues of concern to Kenyan citizens. Why? Because we have high cost of living that is disturbing Kenyans. We have overtaxation disturbing Kenyans. We have unemployment disturbing Kenyans. If you want to cure housing issues, then provide jobs and people will construct their own houses. In economics, the government should not provide private goods, but they should enhance and facilitate, or rather provide public goods like roads, clean environment, creating an enabling environment for businesses, and also create an environment for the provision of merit goods like education and health. Their consumption should be encouraged by the government. But private good as a house should not. It is not the work of the government to provide a house for its citizens, but to provide jobs for people to build their own houses. Instead, that money should be used for example, creating better transport system. If we had a serious transport system where we have an electric train moving from Nairobi, passing through Nakuru to Kisumu, then another one going all the way to Mombasa, then believe you me, people in Kisumu can come and work in Kisumu, then in 40 minutes they work in Nairobi, in 40 minutes they'll be back in Kisumu without a problem. But if you create houses for people in urban centers, you create what we call dual economy. That there's an urban economy and a rural economy. It will lead to rural-urban migration. The moment people will start moving from the villages, coming to town, knowing that they're coming to get houses, then the problem starts there. Number one, slums will never end, because the moment people move from rural areas to town, what are you telling them? If you can't give them houses, they'll be settling somewhere, and that is how slums will be sprouting. And the moment you don't give them houses and jobs, there will be insecurity. The moment there is insecurity, you know what is going to happen to our nation. Back to agriculture. Kenya, as a nation, we import around 80% of almost everything that we consume. Foodstuff, including chicken, including eggs. We get eggs even from Uganda. That tells you that we are not ready to grow as a nation. Do you want to tell me that there are no cocks that can really deliver to give us eggs in Kenya. So, if you look at how we are doing as a nation, we are still doing very, very badly. Construction, we import construction materials, we import cement. If we want to grow as a nation, then there must be manufacturing in our nation. With manufacturing, there will be provision of jobs. With manufacturing, the economy will grow. With production and embracing the factors of production, there will be a lot of production in our nation, a lot of food that we will produce in the nation, and which also will be meant for serious export. So when we talk about all this, then you realize that lack of proper leadership leads to all this. And who is a leader? A leader is not a dealer. A leader is a person who is visionary, not a missionary, not a person with a mission to destroy the lives, but a vision to transform lives for the better. A vision to ensure that everything in the nation runs well. With proper leadership, we can achieve all this. But with poor leadership, then we are still in for a rude shock. Therefore, the greatest mistake that we make as leaders is that the moment you are elected, ladies and gentlemen, you are elevated to the highest level of ignorance. Any person who is elected is elevated to the highest level of ignorance. Why am I saying so? Because Babu is an advocate and an actuary. Then as a leader, you are a leader of all the trees, all the seeds. You are a leader of all the roads. You are a leader of doctors. All doctors want you to take care of their interest and you know nothing about medicine. Ain't that ignorance? All engineers want you to take care of their interest, yet you know nothing about engineering. All bishops want you to take care of their interest, yet you don't know the way to heaven. All thieves want you to take care of their interest because you are a leader of all the thieves. Am I speaking sense? So therefore, after being elevated to the highest level of ignorance, what do you do as a leader? Leadership bus is the only bus that is driven from the back. The moment you are a leader, do not drive this bus from the front. Why am I saying so? Because if you let the doctors guide you, if you let the teachers guide you, you let engineers guide you, then you shall make proper decisions. But if you are a know-it-all, you will drive that bus into a ditch. Am I talking some sense? Coming back home, I want to thank you, Mr. John, the CEO, Star Brand Awards. You are doing an amazing work. Star Brand is a great brand that is recognizing the efforts made by leaders in this country. You've gone beyond political leadership to the corporate leadership, and that is an amazing work. As Babu Owino, the award that I'm receiving today, I dedicate it to our brothers and sisters in various schools. And why am I doing so? Because if you never believed that God existed, look at me. Were it not for God, I would have never been here today. Were it not for God, Babu Owino would have never stepped in Nairobi. The first time that I stepped in Nairobi, and a city for that matter, was in the year 2007, September 13, when I was coming to the university. And I was coming to the university to acquire knowledge. Because as I was growing up, I was trained that it is only education that could remove me from the slums. And therefore, on a daily basis, I used to pray to God every midnight, and I used to tell God, please remove me from these slums, and when I get out of these slums, I will never forget about you. I didn't know that God was directing me into leadership, and when I am in leadership before God and man, I will have to work. If I don't work for the people, I will go back to the slums, because I have a covenant with Almighty God to deliver. I might not be 100% perfect, and nobody is. I might not be righteous, and nobody is. But the little effort that I will place, the talent that God has given me, I will use it positively to change lives, to transform lives. And when it comes to education, I will still do it passionately because I'm a product of education. Were it not for education, I would have never left Nyalenda slums to Nairobi. Were it not for education, I would have never been a student leader at the University of Nairobi. Were it not for education, I would have never gone to Parliament, and today, I would have never been here. Were it not for education.